My bad, I was on mute there. Just wanted to say thank you very much to Sean for that engrossing presentation there about digital signage. And next up, we're going to dive further and further into this magnificent world. And may I introduce you to Florian, who's going to be moderating a roundtable on post-pandemic solutions. Are you there, Florian?
Yeah, hi, I'm here.
Yeah, perfect. Well, I'll hand it all over to you, and looking forward to the talk.
Absolutely, absolutely. Welcome from our side. We're currently here in Switzerland in a cinema. The cinema is closed, but we are recording some more sessions for invidis Meets World. Some of you maybe have seen it already before the show. So we're here in the largest cinema in Switzerland and talking with customers and getting some insights about the digital signage industry in general. But I'm really proud to host the first panel today. And with no further ado, I would like to introduce the three speakers we have invited today. So the first one would be Laila Jensen from ZetaDisplay. Laila, great to see you. Secondly, we have Rich Daugherty from AVI-SPL. Please excuse me if I don't pronounce your last name right. And we have Roland Grassberger from Grassfish in Vienna. Welcome all of you. Good, hi. Fantastic. So to start off with, the pandemic has been a very, very difficult year for all of your customers as well as your business, I assume. So how was 2020 for you guys, and 2020, how does 2020 look like? So Rich, maybe to start off with you.
Well, work definitely slowed down in 2020. It was very hard, but conversations about digital signage definitely picked up. I found myself being 3 times more busy, scheduling calls with clients, discussing their concerns, how to reach their remote workforce, what technologies are out there to, achieve their communication strategy, reach out to these people with announcements, best practices, notifications. So a lot of that was happening. So what I'm seeing now in 2021 is that these conversations are now turning into very potential projects, and so we're very excited about that.
That's great to hear. Laila, what about at ZetaDisplay? You're mainly in the Nordics and the Benelux. So how has been 2020 for you guys, and what's 2021 look like?
Well, we're the same. The market declined last year. I think it was roughly about minus 14%, and but we see an underlying growth will return this year. So we were affected in the project sales in 2020. We didn't have any customer churns. We just had delays. So we see the activity from the customer side on the rise again.
That's good to hear.
And we
Roland.
have...
oh, sorry.
Sorry, no. Please.
Okay, Roland, as a digital signage software company, obviously your business is a little bit different. You have recurring revenue, which I think have been really nicely last year and this year. So how's your business currently doing?
And I think the difference is that we do not only provide software, but also services, and really are a companion especially for large corporations on the way to digitizing the floor space. And what we saw is that there were some segments like hospitality and traveling who really suffered, but especially for large corporations with a stable financial background, it was like this that they used the time also to rethink their strategies and to work on new solutions. And for us, this meant last year that we had an increase in our turnovers of 40%, and we'll have much more this year. And we saw that global rollouts, so we had some global rollouts last year, they were delayed a little bit because of access restrictions, but they didn't stop, and they were all fulfilled. And we saw that there was, in the beginning of the first half of last year, a decrease in generating new customers, but in the second half, business restarted. With also the generation of new customers restarted. So in total, I see it like this, that there are some fields that are really suffering, also like airlines. but in general, companies with a stable financial background and a strong strategy, used the pandemic or this time to focus on their strengths and to focus on the future.
Rich, and to all of you guys, not only obviously, our customers have changed, consumers' behavior has changed, but also the industry has changed. There's a lot of consolidation going on. And Rich, AVI-SPL is now the largest integrator in the world, 2 billion revenue. So how is life in this new, in this global organization? And how do you see the competition in the market in general?
That's a good question. So, I mean, we have partnered with some great technologies, right? So when customers come to us looking for our advice, looking for our consultation, we can really lean on our partners and their technology and their advancements in that can really lend themselves to the pandemic. Communication is key, safety is key. So when we have these conversations, we highlight what the requirements are, we start speaking with our partners, and then we kind of reach, and find a solution that best matches what the client is looking for. So I feel like we are in a good place. We have the right partners with the right technology. So I feel like we haven't missed a step. It's just seeing how much digital signage has evolved from just being a lobby and a display to really offering all these new advantages, like sensors and having cameras and things that really assess the situation, how many people have entered a building, how many people have left, how many people you can have in a meeting room, keeping all with the safety standards that, the office has. I think we have the right partners and the right technology.
Good. Laila, consolidation is also a big topic for you guys. You have just recently acquired another integrator. So you continue on this path to acquire more integrators and to grow larger across Europe?
Yeah, that's definitely a strategy. We acquired Nordland System in Germany, so we grow our footprint in the DACH region and further strengthen our position in Europe. And I can only say yes to what Rich just said, that digital signage has such a fundamental role throughout this whole pandemic in keeping people safe and informed. For our company, we managed to navigate the pandemic and reacted really quickly with a number of new product launches, for example, the entrance control solutions. And we also entered a new collaboration agreement with Castes for the COVID-19 infection-free cover for screen solutions. So we see that the pandemic has accelerated the digitalization in the society for both customers, but also consumers. And the right digital signage solution, coupled with the right messaging, will improve the communication throughout and add tangible value for businesses. And we also see one thing that's come up is digital signage as a service, or company as a service, or leasing as a service into the aspect of the pandemic. Okay.
Roland, is also something you see in the market more as a service, as a services, and how is your life as a standalone ISV? Or you are developing now to a more bigger integrator. Is that something? Is that the reason you wanted you want to grow, is to have more customers and to be more resilient in the market?
Our strategy is to grow a business. We are not becoming an integrator really, but we are more in the role of a consultant and software supplier, and we are working with a network of integrators, with great integrators, with great partners, and also some companies that do a great job in consulting customers. So we are also increasing the collaboration with agencies and also with, for example, consultant companies like Deloitte. And we work there because what we do is, and what our projects are there for, is to be the part of the whole digital customer journey, the part that is taking place in a location. So if you see the whole customer journey, then you have the online channels and the offline channels, and the companies, the corporations that are large companies, go into the direction that they have a platform for online channels and one platform for all offline or for all local digital touch points, which are interactive touch points and non-interactive touch points, integration of sensors, integration of POS systems and ERP systems and so on. And therefore, the consultant part and the integration part, but not the hardware integration part, but the data integration part and the integration in the whole communication strategy has a much higher importance now, and we grew our partner network with different types of partners. Not only and hardware integration is just one field here.
Okay. We talked about directly or indirectly about retail and the development retail, but Rich, especially for AVI, the office, the corporate world is very important. So what are the main drivers there, and how can digital signage really add benefit in this post-pandemic world?
Oh yeah, I mean, we have conversations with clients and they're like, what can we do? You know, no one's in the office right now. So our digital signage are playing for no one. So they have everyone working from home. What's the best way to reach them? So we have digital signage platforms that can push signage to their desktop. So there'll be a widget on their desktop that will play a playlist of all the, you know, HR announcements, marketing announcements, anything relevant to the company. So they'll be informed and up to date with all that information. So along with that, you can push, you know, digital signage platforms can integrate with Microsoft Teams, WebEx Teams, or Slack and push messaging that way. So the you know, communication channels are open and you're pushing important information to your remote workforce. So I think, you know, these signage platforms, like we've been saying, have really evolved and are definitely a communication tool. And because the pandemic hit, I think some of these features really are, you know, becoming bigger, like really known and embraced because it you know, matches everything that the clients are looking for. So I think that we have found lots of success with this.
Okay, but I think that's one of the really interesting things you mentioned is really how to integrate digital signage with Teams, for example. So to have really one platform and not have a separate interface and everything, so more people can use it. Is it really? Do you have already done some of these projects, or is something just you were just talking about with your clients?
No. We have clients that have actually integrated with that, and they love it. So you know, even at AVI-SPL, we have our internal communication, and we have access to this, so we have utilized that.
Oh, that's cool. I heard about also Starbucks having little apps and everything, so you can order your coffee. So Teams really becomes one of these, you know, middleware platforms for employees.
Oh yeah, you know, and some of our signage platforms create custom mobile apps, so it'll all be branded to your company, and it's almost like a social app where you can post things, you can have polling, you can comment and like, just like you would in Facebook, but it's all business related. And when you push a notification, everyone has a mobile phone. So everyone in the company will receive that information.
That's really interesting. How it's evolving, you know, from a silo installation from digital signage to a cross-platform platform thing.
Absolutely. It's not just a 32-inch screen sitting somewhere. It's everywhere.
Well, I hope it's not 32-inch. That's very tiny.
All right. Gotcha. Yeah.
Laila, how about Zeta? How are you involved into some office projects, and what role can digital signage play in employee communication nowadays?
Yes, it's the same thing, but I also think because Rich mentioned what we're doing now, I'm also thinking about a little bit about for the future, because we also need to encourage people to come into the office by showing that it's safe and also make it a positive communication. We have implemented heat sensors, for example, for fever detection, and having more touchless interactions, and also the same with the mobile interfaces, so that they're confident using their own devices, etc. As we're really more and more reliant on it. But the positive saying for also when they come back, like, welcome back, Florian, we've really missed you. Increasing the entertainment in the waiting areas to actually, because they don't need to come into the office. But we would want to come into the office when everything opens up and everybody has their infections, of course, vaccines. So it's important that we create this enjoyable and experience safe for productivity and collaboration when people comes back. So we need to look at both aspects.
Yeah, unfortunately, nobody's waiting for me in my office because we always have to go in quarantine every time we come from the foreign countries. Roland, you're doing a lot of stuff with
traveling. Yeah.
Yeah. Roland, you're integrating a lot of sensors. You're integrating different platforms, connecting to back-end systems, everything. What are the latest trends, and where do you see the market heading?
I think one of the most important trends is the integration of mobile devices in the store. And this is to the biggest or the great extent, these are the mobile devices of the store staff, so that the staff can use the screens and the digital environment in their processes and also in their communication with the customer. So that the digital, it's really a big difference if between a digital signage installation, which is in effect a screen with a digital video recorder behind, or an environment which supports the sales staff in their sales process. If the staff in the store sees the screens and the digital implementation as a tool, as something that supports their work, then digital signage is at a much higher level and has a much more important role than before. So the integration of the sales staff and the staff in the store is I think one of the biggest points now.
Mm-hmm. But obviously sensors also add more complexity to signage. You have to manage more hardware, and to all of you, but I know Rich, AVI has a special platform, everything. How complicated is it to manage hardware from different vendors across the world, everything? Are there good solutions available, and are you able to do that very efficiently, or is it still a puzzle of different technologies and different surveying tools?
I mean, if you look at it and you see everything in front of you, it can be very complicated and overwhelming. But, some of our solutions, it's a very simple approach. If you go the route of cloud, so let's say you opt to go digital signage in the cloud, you can integrate everything with the cloud. So you have the CMS up there. When you register players, it's in the cloud. You can see your entire enterprise from the dashboard of your CMS. So you can push updates, you can push all your playlists, so you can reboot, you can monitor, the health of your players. If anything goes down, there could be alerts sent to you, so you can manage everything. And it could be any kind of hardware, whether it's PC, Linux-based, it's really an open spectrum of player devices, all monitored from one CMS in the cloud. So you just log in and you can see everything.
But Rich,
Very
is it
simple.
only, that's what the theory is, that's what everyone promises, but this is real life out there. I've seen it, I've read it.
This is real. We do it. I mean, we practice what we preach, so this is not theory. This is something we practice and do every day.
Okay, cool. Laila, I mean, you also have your own CMS system, so you probably also are able to manage hardware and devices and everything. So are you also doing this on behalf of your customers, really, managing and viewing that everything runs properly?
Yes, and as you know, we're an international company, so we have many international clients and brands working across multiple countries where we have an excess of 1,000 stakeholders to keep contact of, and we have the same with our solution. Yes, we have our CMS proprietary, whereas one of our strategic task is to invest in that, and we have many developers sitting every day developing in the software, because that's our key product.
Good.
Yeah, and having
Roland,
the thing with having our own,
Go ahead.
key about having our own software and having our own developers is that we get our customers, and future trends are the one that inspires us and helps us develop the product, steering it the way that it should be into the future needs and to their needs.
Yeah. Roland, you have a few customers which are really, using your technology, your platform globally. So what are the challenges in operating across all continents and managing and supporting software there? Is it very difficult, or does it work smoothly in daily life?
Well, it works smoothly, but there's a lot of knowledge behind, and because if you create a global platform, then a smooth operation in all locations is a key issue. So with today's cloud-based system, it's not a problem that it runs stable, but we've developed our own speed, for example, our own speed test software or modules that can monitor the access speed from all different locations worldwide. So we can adapt the structure of the hosted system, of the central system, so that it adapts to the necessity, the speed necessity and the access necessities worldwide. And so managing a global a global hosted system is possible and is working fine, but we have, for example, set up our own department that is only caring about infrastructure and security of our global hosted systems.
Okay. I mean, this whole debate, this seminar is called, Solutions for the Post-Pandemic World. I was lucky enough to be in Dubai a couple of days ago, and I attended the first meeting where everyone was vaccinated and they all took proudly their mask off, and it felt almost like 2 years ago. Unfortunately, I was the only one not vaccinated, but it felt good. So you get already some feeling that, the new normal will be pretty much what the old normal was all about. But what will be the solutions? I mean, what will retailers look like? What will be the digital signage solutions for the foreseeable future, for fall, for 2022? Where does digital signage, digital retail, digital experience at the most?
Do you want me to take that one?
Who wants to go first? Rich?
I'll go first. Yeah, so I mean, there were a lot of lessons learned when it comes to the pandemic and how everyone reacted to it, especially in retail. I think that what it boils down to is making the customer feel safe, right? So a lot of things were put in place in retail. You could order beforehand and then just pick it up at the store, touchless delivery, but aside from that, when people return and start going back to these retail stores, I think there's huge things we can do to accomplish that feeling of being secure and interacting with, like, let's say, a touch screen. So you can put an overlay. So overlays exist where they kill about 99% of germs and bacteria. And these can be cleaned after every use with a disinfectant that won't harm the display. So that's one thing you can do. And you can have something that says that on the display. There's also combo units that are a kiosk plus a hand sanitizing station right there. So the user can interact with the display and then use the dispenser to clean their hands. Like I find myself using the ATM machine, or when I go to the grocery store, I check out using the pin pad, and like hundreds of people use that all the time. I just make sure that I clean my hands afterwards. So I find myself doing that, and I've been very, very cautious. So I'm sure there's millions of other people who follow the same kind of approach. As long as you feel that you're safe and that you're not in contact with anything that could get you sick, I think people will interact with these screens. Also, there's advantages like QR codes. Even if you don't want to touch it, you can scan the QR code and have the experience from your phone. If it's an interactive experience, I've also seen where you can scan the QR code and drive the experience from your phone. There's also other things, beacons in retail that'll trigger specific content. So if you have downloaded the app to that retailer and have agreed to receiving these notifications, if you're walking through the store, you'll be notified when you reach certain beacons. You'll receive content that's pushed to your phone. It could be coupons or a notification of a sale. So,
but Rich, may I interrupt you? Beacons is really interesting because beacon sounds like something 5 years ago and was a disaster, the first generation. But I think the new generation are the ultra wideband beacon, right? They're much more powerful and much easier to integrate, right?
I mean, I feel like everyone has a mobile phone now, and even my daughter, she got her phone a year before she was supposed to. So I think that maybe beacons were too soon, before its time. So I feel like beacons, as well as having cameras on displays that can read like demographics, for example. So it can tell who's standing in front of the screen, how long they're lingering, and then play the appropriate content for who's standing in front of the screen. So there's content that can be triggered based on demographic. there's lots of things. So as far as the retail tool set, there's a lot of things that you can accomplish with digital signage. I mean, it's all in the approach, really, and what you want to do.
Yeah, very interesting.
But I also think it's about them.
Yeah, Laila, go ahead.
It's also about the message that the customer wants to achieve. The one thing that you're missing, Rich, is that the integration with the dynamic and real-time data allows the creation of the personal campaigns for the customers based in front of the screens, and either on the interest they have or their previous purchases within the stores. And there's also the new thing with the mobile phones also, that you have the QR scanner, you got the product sheets and everything else, but you can also order food to the table. You can collect loyalty points and everything else if you download the app, but you can also control products from your phone now. So you use the mobile phone more, and with the augmented reality, like you talked about, it is so easy to collect the virtual product and then from the in-store, and then take it at home and then see either in the store the layers of the product, and then you can see it in your house. It's really, it's so important that we have these also creative content that transcends the physical and online space.
I just got some information. We need to go to some of the questions. We have lots of questions from the audience. Right. So we have only less than 8 minutes left, so maybe we can address some of them. I got a question here from Paul Hager. To all, we saw in the previous sessions that content is one of the biggest investments in signage. What types of content are you seeing customers have the most success with?
Have most success with?
Yeah. What is the best content? I think it's a difficult question because it really depends on what kind of touch point you have, what kind of dwell time and everything. But in your experience, is it more the interactive stuff, or is it more digital poster, or is it very difficult to say?
I think it's a combination, because it's so what you have to generate is you have to generate an interior design that acts as a whole, and this involves the cooperation of different screens. So if you, for example, have installations like Hugo Boss, the Hugo Boss flagship store in Metzingen, then they have large LED screens, and I think around 50 screens, large format displays, and all these displays are working together. So there is a synchronization. The content is not the same, but from time to time, they show the same content, and content changes are synchronized. And I think to see it as a whole, the whole shop as one whole block, and you have a content concept not for a screen but for the whole shop, and this involves or integrates interactive screens and non-interactive screens and video walls. Then this provides the biggest impact.
Okay, I have another question from Edmond 10. Can you push signage to Zoom?
Yeah, absolutely. And what we found is that customers will, they're not versed in how to start up the conference room equipment. So we have digital signage in there with kind of steps that walk them through what to do. And if needed, they can call IT. That's probably the last step.
That's good, because we have another question in regards to Zoom from Rizwan. I think it goes exactly in the direction. So you can really integrate Zoom as well, digital signage with Zoom and with Teams and with some other platforms. So this is quite a new development and quite interesting to see. We have a question from Paul Hager. Is anyone using AI-driven services to support sales staff with prompts to aid interaction to individual customers?
I guess we can say yes.
Yeah, I saw it at Abercrombie & Fitch Kids in Dubai this week. They had little buttons there, and you could press a button in the fitting room as well, be in front of the fitting room if everything is locked. And then there was a signal prompt giving to the wristwatch of the sales associate, and they just came and changed their stuff or so. So it works, and it was done very simple. I had seen, huge complicated touch screens, but they had just a manual button. It worked quite well. So what else do we have? We have a question from Florian Rotberg to all. Are there any estimates of the breakdown between fixed and mobile installations? Oh, that's difficult because mobile usually don't have to install, right?
But I actually want to say something, because I think we're missing a little bit the aspects of the entertainment. When we talked about content before, when I think it was Paul that asked the question. We've just done a new installation in New York in a bank where we have an LED backdrop, and then we have collaboration with Air Console, where we can use when people come and sit and wait in the waiting area, they go in and use the mobile phone as the controller, and then they attend this gaming session so that they're entertained while they're waiting. So I think we also need to, when it comes to content, it could be content on screen that keeps your attention or draw you somewhere else, sends a message to you, or it can be entertainment. So you go from experience to also engaging with the screen.
I can also recommend popcorn. Popcorn's very good entertainment.
Yeah. But the integration of mobile, so mobile surely will play a bigger role in the installation, because the integration of the mobile devices of the customers, but also of the staff, is a big topic now.
I have another question from Alex. How do you see projection adding value to the development of digital signage, and what are the obstacles of their adoption? So the role of projection and projectors.
So projection is projection is something that what we see, what is really developing because of the new laser or short distance, ultra short distance laser projectors, and it depends on the location, but it is really a cool system or a cool technology to create ambience, and this can only be with black and white. For example, like some hotels do it, or Sofitel, and but it is also possible to create large environments that are used then to create a mood and the atmosphere within a shop. Depends largely from the light system or the lighting and the placement. But it had no role some years ago, but it's really growing.
I would like to answer that as well, because we're using it for one of our larger accounts, where we create some experience. For example, there is a cat that jumps from one furniture to another furniture, and then the projector is part of the interior design. It looks like a lamp. So if you have the projector as part of the interior, you can create the mapping of the furniture, and you can change it, etc., via the mobile phone or the interaction. And there's also, when it comes to mapping, do you remember the large LED where you have the ball coming out of jumping out, and then the spaceship coming out of the 3D mapping coming out of the building, etc.? There's a bit, content can really do a lot. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I saw it at one of your customers, the big furniture chain. They have it there. It's done really, really nicely. And also on black background, really nice when you play with white. It looks almost like charcoal.
But you also interact with the customer, because they can check. Yeah, sorry.
Yep, it seems like the beacon thing it's very popular. We get lots and lots of questions in regards to ultra wideband UWB beacons and everything. Rich, can you elaborate a little bit? How do you use them and how adoption rate is?
So that's an integration with it could be a specific CMS. So there's triggers. There's a lot of customization involved. So you're talking about mobile phones. You have to the customer has to allow these notifications to be pushed to their phone. So there has to be some strategy made and lots of development beforehand, but the results are fantastic. I mean, you're pushing potential sales, potential interest in a product, and you can definitely measure the analytics on that.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I get the information that we have to round it up now. There are a few more questions in regards to LED and efficiency and sustainability. I can just recommend stay tuned, because we will have a segment coming up later on about green environment and green signage. So thanks to three of you. Thank you. Very, very great insights. And I'm sure you stay here. So if any of the viewers have some more questions, please post them. And I would now hand over back from Switzerland to the Netherlands.